a very warm welcome to the Question Hour show from the Parliament House complex, your show where we get you important unstart questions asked by the members of the upper house and the response given by the government. And from this edition, we'll get you all the latest questions asked by the members of the Rajya Sabha in the historic 250th session of the upper house. I'm Kriti Mishra, and joining me is my colleague Akhilesh Suman. So Akhilesh, let's take our viewers through important unstart questions asked by the members of the upper house. And the first question in this edition of Question Hour is from members Vaiko and also T. Subarami Reddy. And these members have asked the Defence Ministry whether the government proposes to appoint Chief of Defence Staff or CDS.
Right, Kriti, this is one of the most sought after questions about the defence because this was the question that has been raised by many people and this was a debatable issue for a long time. But the government says that yes, the government has approved in principle the creation of a post of Chief of Defence Staff. An implementation committee was also approved and constituted to further determine and finalize the exact responsibility and enabling framework for this post and also issues involved to ensure smooth operationalization. The government further says a number of committees like Kargil Review Committee, Group of Ministers Report, Task Force on National Security and Sheketkar Committee have studied and recommended creation of the post of CDS or Permanent Chairman Chiefs of Staff Committee. The government says military reforms is a continuous process and requisite steps are taken by the government time to time as deemed necessary. And the next question, Kriti, has been asked by the member Prabhat Jha. He is asking the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change whether it is a fact that in order to tackle the problem of pollution, a national clean air program has been started by government with the aim to reduce pollution up to 20 to 30% in more than 100 identified cities during the next 5 years. Interesting question. Let me hear what is the answer.
Well, absolutely, Akhilesh. This is a very important question as far as the current AQI levels are concerned and specifically the measures taken by the government to combat pollution. And in this answer, the government says that it has launched National Clean Air Program or the NCAP under the Central Sector Control of Pollution Scheme as a long-term, time-bound, national-level strategy to tackle air pollution across the country in a very comprehensive manner with targets to achieve 20 to 30% reduction in PM10 and PM2.5 concentrations by the year 2024, keeping 2017 as the base year for comparison of concentration. 102 non-attainment cities have been identified based on ambient air quality data for the period 2011 to 2015 and WHO report of 2014 to the year 2018. Now let's move on to the next question that has been asked by member Elaram Karim, and this one pertains to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. And Mr. Karim has asked about the states that have implemented and states that have not implemented the amended Motor Vehicles Act.
Right, Kriti. The minister says the ministry has not received any information from any state that have not implemented the provisions of the Motor Vehicles Amendment Act 2019. As per section 200 of the Motor Vehicles Act 1988, the state government by notification in the official gazette specifies such amount of compounding of certain offences as per the available information. For certain offences, Gujarat, Karnataka, Manipur and Uttarakhand have reduced the penalties. Initially, with the coming into force certain provisions including enhanced penalties for violations as notified with effect 1st September 2019, there were initial apprehensions about the implementations, which got settled in due course. During the process of finalization of the Motor Vehicles Amendment Act 2019, detailed and numerous consultations with the stakeholders were held. Further, the bill was consulted and deliberated in detail in many meetings held by department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Transport, Tourism and Culture and the Select Committee of the Rajya Sabha. And the next question, Kriti, is being asked by MP Virendra Kumar. He is asking the Minister of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises that the details of exemption and SOPs being given to MSMEs for development can be given.
Well, MSME sector is considered the backbone of India's industrial development, and the government has unveiled several measures to provide a booster shot to the MSMEs. And even in this reply, the government goes on to say that under the Goods and Services Tax Act, micro and small units would turn over up to 1.5 crore rupees are allowed to avail benefits under the composition scheme. Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises has launched the interest subvention scheme for new and incremental credit to MSMEs, under which 2% interest submission is provided to all eligible units having Udyog Aadhaar number or UAN and the GST registration. The government further says that the banks have designated senior level officers to do in-depth analysis of the progress made in the availability of credit to the MSMEs. And as reported by the Central Statistics Office, which is also the CSO, the share of MSMEs in total gross value added, which is GVA, during the year 2016-17 was around 31.8%. As reported by Directorate General of Commercial Intelligence and Statistics, called the DGCIS, the share of MSME-related products in total exports during the year 2018-19 was around 48.10%. As per the 73rd round of National Sample Survey, or the NSS, during the year 2016-17, by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, the employed persons in MSME sector was about 11.10 crore. The government further goes on to say that under the Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, or the PMEGP, the estimated employment generation has increased from 3.58 lakh to 5.87 lakh between the year 2014-15 to the year 2018-19. Let's move on to the next question that has been asked by member Ratwa Narunbhai, and this one pertains to the Ministry of Mines. And Mr. Narunbhai has asked whether any action plan has been prepared by the state governments to prevent illegal mining.
And the minister answered in affirmative, Kriti. The minister says 21 state governments, namely Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Kerala, Telangana, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and West Bengal have framed rules under Section 23C of Mines and Mining Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957 to curb illegal mining. Further, 22 state governments, namely Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and West Bengal have constituted task force to review the action taken by members departments for checking the illegal mining activity in their respective jurisdictions. So it's a huge thing and huge number of states. And the next question, Kriti, has been asked by member Jharna Das Baidya. She is asking the Minister of Jal Shakti whether the government is aware that safe drinking water is still not available in many remote areas of the country, particularly in Tripura and other northeastern states.
Well, the Government of India has launched the Jal Shakti Ministry, which is the umbrella ministry to address the water woes of the country. And in this response, the government says that drinking water is specifically state subject. To improve the provision of potable water to rural population, Government of India supplements the efforts of the state governments by providing financial and also technical assistance. Under erstwhile National Rural Drinking Water Program, which was also called the NRDWP, the coverage was maintained in terms of fully covered habitations, that is, having provision of minimum 40 litre per capita per day of potable drinking water with sources at a reasonable distance. Further, the government says that to enable every rural household to have potable drinking water supply on a regular basis in adequate quantity through functional household tap connection, by the year 2024, the Government of India has launched the Jal Jeevan Mission at a planned outlay of 3.60 lakh crore rupees. Let's move on to the next question that has been asked by three members, Member Vishambar Prasad Nishat, Member Sukhram Singh Yadav and also Member Chaya Verma. And these members have questioned the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and they have asked whether the budgetary allocation in Khelo India program has declined.
The minister says this is not true. The answer is in negative. The budgetary allocation for Khelo India scheme has not been reduced in current financial year. That means the budget is intact. The government further says under the scheme of assistance to national sports federations identified promising sports persons, teams are provided with all requisite facilities for their preparations such as wholesome nutrition diet, food supplements, equipments state-of-the-art infrastructure, lodging and traveling facilities, services of reputed Indian and foreign coaches, supporting staff, scientific and medical support, sports kit, etc., besides financial assistance for their training abroad and participation in international competition in India and abroad. In addition, under the Target Olympic Podium TOPS scheme, sports persons who have performed exceptionally well in international events and have best possible prospect for short-term and long-term are identified and provided with high-level customized support. So government says that Khelo India is intact and budgetary allocation and all the facilities on Khelo India is going on.
So Akhilesh, these were the questions that we had for our viewers in this edition of Question Hour from the 250th session of the Rajya Sabha. Well, on the other side, we'll have Prashn Kal in Hindi with our colleagues Arvind Singh and Kriti Singh. Stay tuned to Rajya Sabha Television.